Why is today such a pivotal day in the grand scheme of things for baseball's return?
Well, Greeny, over the weekend, the Major League Baseball Players Association essentially demanded that MLB get back to them with a schedule by today. Now, per the March 26th agreement that we have spent so much time talking about, arguing over, discussing, dissecting, Major League Baseball has the ability to set a schedule, but here's the problem. It only has the ability to set the schedule after discussing and consulting it with the Players Association. And Greeny, there has been no discussion, there has been no consultation. They are not talking. They go back and forth with each other over email, sending insults, sending all sorts of things that have done nothing to progress baseball to the point where we're actually going to see games. So what we may end up seeing today is Major League Baseball coming back and saying, hey, here are some options that we have. Let's figure something out together and make sure that this is not a unilaterally implemented thing so that we continue fighting year over year into next year when the collective bargaining agreement is up and make this worse than we've made it already.
All right. So, Jeff, I want to show this video that Andrew McCutchen did, and here's why. Because I think sometimes the issues we're dealing in here become a little bit confusing and convoluted for those who've not followed it closely. So here's Andrew McCutchen with a perfect depiction of the players' view of the way the owners have handled this situation.
All right, but listen, if you potty on the toilet, I'll give you some juice.
Yay! Yay, juice!
All right, buddy, here's your water.
No, I want juice.
What about water in this cup?
No juice.
I know we agreed on juice, but what about water? What about water in a bottle?
No juice.
What about water in a coffee mug? You love your coffee mugs.
No juice.
Look, it doesn't matter that we agreed on juice. I'm your dad, and you're drinking water. Now, either you drink this water, or you don't drink anything at all. Who's thirsty?
Sometimes that's the best way to explain things. That's extremely well done. Doug Glanville, as you can see, has joined us as well. And here, Doug, I don't even really know what to ask you. What is your biggest takeaway from what seems to be the unbridled disaster in which baseball is living?
Well, this is the consistent history, Greeny. This is how it's gone down since the dawn of Marvin Miller coming through. I mean, it's been a saber-rattling battle. A lot of stuff happens behind the scenes. But the public perception and depiction has always been very tension-filled. And you know that the owners are looking at that bottom line. They're saying, here's the number we're trying to get to. That's the outlay we're willing to go for. And the players always have looked more on the structural side. What precedent are we setting going forward? And they're not interested ever in anything that's a cap or a discount off of their salaries. And despite what's going around us in the world, that's irrelevant when it comes to actually getting in that room, owners and players, and coming up with that middle ground, especially when you're talking about non-essential work, right? You're saying, play for our entertainment, play, and here's what you're going to do. So they're saying, okay, well, you know, give us the terms, or we're just going to continue this battle back and forth.
I totally get what you're saying. The point you're making is that to the purposes of this negotiation, the external circumstances are irrelevant. But, Jeff, we do live in the world, and the external circumstances are significant with regards to that. So how would you describe the damage that has been done to this point over the last month or so?
I think it's been enormous, and I think that public perception does matter. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now. We're in the middle of, hopefully, a historic time of societal uprising to try and make things right. We are in a place where tens of millions of people are unemployed. If the context, Greeny, is ever going to matter, it's got to matter now. And yet I understand what Doug is saying, and in the part that really stood out to me the most in that video with Andrew McCutchen wasn't the metaphor so much as it was the moment where he said, I'm your dad and I'm going to tell you what to do. That is what it feels like sometimes with owners and players. The relationship is like there's this paternal element and we're going to tell you exactly what to do. That's not the way a good working relationship works. And I think the players right now, their anger, they are fed up right now because they feel like they've been mistreated any number of ways, whether it's service time manipulation, whether it's in free agency, all these little things that have been burbling to the surface the last couple of years, they're coming out right now.
Doug, I've got 30 seconds. What happens next?
Well, I think what Jeff has he framed earlier, they're going to eventually say, well, we don't want to impose something under these circumstances. Okay, we're in a pandemic. We don't want to come up with an imposition to play with safety on the line. So I think they'll come back and say, okay, we're not going to impose it at this level. How about this? And there's still going to be issues. And they may just decide, okay, well, we'll rather you impose it. And then they may have some grievance battle back and forth that can be protracted, but it could happen behind the scenes. So we'll see what they do. But the reality is they're never on that smooth sailing public depiction. It always seems to end up in this public friction. And they got to figure out a better way to do that given the circumstances we're all living in.
Maybe the best one-word summary I saw of this is in Jeff Passan's piece. It's up on ESPN.com right now, where the question is, will there be baseball this summer? And your answer, Jeff, was probably. That's not the answer we're looking for. I could use